The disconnect between Tesla bears and bulls are at an all-time high. While bears point to a falling stock price and believe Tesla vehicle sales has fallen off the map, bulls are focusing on the signal over the noise. First, Tesla is apparently building a new Megapack factory, this time in Texas. Starting with an existing building, the start of production could happen sooner, and the sooner they can get to an estimated $8 to $10 billion of revenue annually. Second, Tesla just officially signed a 5-year lease for a showroom in India as they prepare to begin selling cars into this massive market. Third, Tesla just introduced very attractive promotions for both Cybertruck and the Model 3. All this while they prepare for the rollout of new affordable vehicles. Larry Goldberg's joining us today. Welcome, Larry.
Hey, thanks for having me, Herbert.
So we have several big news. I mean, this is what, Tesla investors should be focusing on, not the stock price. Is Tesla growing? Here's a brand new product, a Megapack factory that they've announced. We knew that they were going to build a new Megapack factory at the earnings call. Elon let us slip that there's a third one. Now we know that it's actually in Texas, 1.6 million square foot factory in an existing building. So that means they should be able to start production sooner. If there's already a building there, they don't have to set that up. And this could be $8 to $10 billion of revenue annually. It's here in Empire Boulevard. This is the building that used to be for distribution. Now it used to be identified as a Tesla warehouse. The main building that's already completed is 1.03 million square feet, and there's a land per Google Maps for a 600,000 square foot building with parking, but they still maybe have to build that. So this is existing. So people like Jordan Gizigi from the Limiting Factor and also Brian Wang, they're saying that if this is true, 1.6 million square feet, that's 3 to 4 times the size of the first two Megapack factories. Lathrop's about 440, Shanghai's around 660. This would be larger. Do you agree with that assessment?
I don't necessarily agree nor disagree with it. I'll just make a few points. The first is the Lathrop factory has a very, very large area across the road from the factory where Megapacks are stored or are staged. And I don't think a lot of people are taking that into account. So that very large open parking lot may well be necessary for the staging of the Megapacks, and that may be true in China as well. The second is that the building also acts as a warehouse, not just as a factory. And so it's more than possible that the additional square feet is being taken by that. And the third point I would make is that it's more than possible it's a larger factory. There's no telling whether it's going to be larger or the same or whatever. But one thing's for sure, it's very bullish about the demand. It's very bullish on the demand. So, and particularly as this administration is looking to expand power utilization across the country, because manufacturing they want manufacturing rebased here. So we're going to see an enormous, revival of the energy industry across the country, and that calls for batteries. That just indicates we're going to need batteries because our distribution system, our distribution network, our grid is so poorly organized and so poorly and is in such dire need of modernization. So all the indications are it's at least as big as Lathrop, if not larger. I don't think it's 2 or 3 times the size of Lathrop, but it could be.
Were you surprised with the location in Texas?
Very surprised.
Where did you? People kept saying Berlin. Most people kept saying Europe.
I said Berlin. I think there's an absolute case for a factory in Berlin, but in Europe, and Berlin is available. But I think I would be surprised if the Tesla management are not very cautious about any additional investment in Europe now.
Yeah, exactly. In one way, or some people are saying it's not surprising because, if you notice what they're doing, they're building a Megapack factory in every factory that they have, Gigafactory. They have one in California. Now they have one in Texas. They have one in Shanghai. Maybe they'll have the fourth in Berlin. But this idea that you're building a Megapack factory right near your Gigafactory, I think it makes sense. My theory that I threw out there this morning was that they're going to need Megapack factories near the Gigafactories because they're going to need to build AI data warehouses there as well. That's why they did it here in Texas, is to be near the AI
Well,
warehouse.
I don't think that theory holds water because the number of megapacks required for large data centers is really very small in relation to the total production of those megapack factories. Look, the number of megapacks manufactured by those factories are like 10 to 100 times larger than would be required globally for data centers. The big use, the very, very significant use of those megapacks are for stabilizing the grid, and that's where the volume of them are going to go. Significantly more than it's going to be in data centers.
Okay, well, that answers the question I had, and so it's not likely that. Do you think that there's going to be another Megapack factory announced? Let's say this year.
Yeah, I think that there's probably a case to be made for a Megapack factory on the East Coast. I was very surprised about Houston because it's still in the South. That I mean, it's hard to gauge why they wouldn't have put that in the Austin site. I guess maybe that's served by rail in Houston. I'm not sure.
That's what. Yeah.
That's possible. I mean, rails would be good. I want one here in North Carolina. I'm really going to
push for that.
Tesla for
lobby.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. My suspicion was that it was a negotiation with Texas. We're going to do a lot for you. We're going to build you a Megapack factory. We're going to build you more
but for
factories
Texas,
here.
I could do it in Austin.
Yeah, like you said, the rail.
The thing is, they don't have a railhead in Austin. That's a limiting factor. They have to haul it to the railhead, which is about 30 miles away.
It's just, again, I don't know if people understand what's happened here, right? They've got a business model here where they spend $200 million to convert an existing building, any building at all. They can take it, turn into an $8 to $10 billion revenue annually. The demand is unlimited at this point. There's no one saying that you can build many of these and sell them all. And it's just up to Tesla to decide how, when, and how, and where they want to build it. So I still believe,
by the end of next year, they could be pumping out $30 billion a year of megapacks at a very, very handsome and healthy gross margin. All of that will fall to the bottom line of Tesla because they have such enormous operating leverage.
That's at the end of next year, right? I mean, this year, 2024, the revenue was $100 billion. So they're already at about 8 billion now of energy. So by next end of next year, they'll have triple that, right? 30 billion.
They could be at the triple run rate. I don't think they'll do it for the whole year.
Gotcha.
But the run rate will be triple that. It will be
Jordan was estimating that by 2030, he thinks like basically if you just do conservatively 1 Megapack factory per year, it's going to be 8 of them. I think that's fair. I think it's going to double. I think there's going to be, I still stand by it, and you can hold me to this, that there'll be another announcement of another Megapack factory before the end of June. That's like March, April, May, June, 3 months, another one. Yeah.
It's possible.
Maybe not. Unlikely, but it could be possible. So let's talk about what's happening now with the India. So the second thing that they did was they're actually now selling cars. Tesla's announced that they're going to start selling cars in India. And we had already seen signs that they'd already selected a couple showrooms in Mumbai. They're starting to hire people. Here you've got Tesla officially signing a 5-year lease for the first showroom in India. That shows you, right? That in order to do that, to sell Tesla cars in India, they had to have negotiated some sort of tariff relief because I think India charges like 100% tariff to bring in a foreign car in. So what did they do there? But they started to hire all these people. These are all job openings in Mumbai to help with the showrooms to start selling the cars there. You can see that. And then there's now reports that India may offer a 0 for 0 tariff deal to the US. So they're proposing to eliminate the tariffs on most industrial products from the US if it's brought into India, and it's provided US does the same for Indian goods going back in. So, so what's your thinking about Tesla selling cars in India?
Well, this time last year, I was predicting that it was going to happen last year.
Yeah.
So early last year, I really believed that it was on the way. It was about to happen. It didn't happen, and it didn't happen, I guess, because we had the wrong president. The administration wouldn't support Tesla. Tesla went in and tried to negotiate that on their own. It just shows you what the difference in the administration makes. It's not just for Tesla, but for all businesses, for all enterprise. Anyway, it's going to be very good in India. I believe that there's enormous opportunity in India at so many levels. I think they will establish a factory in due course in India.
I was going to ask you. Yeah.
I'm convinced of it. There's no doubt about it. And here's the thing. The robotaxi is an absolutely ideal vehicle for India. Absolutely ideal. Now, there's some challenges for FSD in India. There's some challenges, I will tell you. The traffic control is zero. I mean, not very few, 0 cars observe lane markings when there are lane markings, and there aren't often lane markings. The pedestrian traffic is just crazy, and the bike traffic and the two-wheeler traffic is, absolutely, I mean, you can't believe what goes on. But nonetheless, the Tesla brand is incredibly, incredibly popular in India. And they will sell their 50,000 cars, no problem. Now, whether the less expensive vehicle or the robotaxi will be the more popular vehicle, I don't know. But I think both of those have a great future in India.
Right. So I think the timing is that the more affordable vehicles is coming. Like if they were just going to sell the Model Y, it'll sell. There's lots of very, very rich people there. But we're talking, 100,000, 200,000.
No,
We're talking big numbers.
Not even close to 100,000 of the Model Y.
Well, I mean, there's millionaires, many millionaires there, but
trust me,
that's why the showrooms are in Mumbai. But if you want a mass number,
Model Ys,
you won't be able to sell that many.
By the way, if there'll be more Model Ys than there are Mercedes. The small Mercedes vehicles.
Yeah. So, yeah. So but that's the point, right? So if the more affordable vehicles come, that's perfect timing to open this up now.
Yes.
Sell it there. But by the way, take a look at this, Larry. I don't know if you saw this. This is one of the videos in China of FSD being driven in China.
But look how good the traffic is in China.
You think this is good?
What are you talking about? This is very, very organized. The streets are clean. The lanes are marked.
I see what you're saying. Okay, but take a look at
India is the whole next level to this.
Well, I can show you mountainous, treacherous roads. Okay, Tesla's doing really well.
What the cars are doing here is they're waiting for the two-wheelers. There's a big difference between that and in India. In India, they don't wait for the two-wheelers. They vie with the two-wheelers. So the two-wheelers go, and then it's a matter of who gives away first and so on and so forth. Here, they're waiting for the pedestrians. In India, they would drive. The pedestrians would have to watch out. I don't know. I think you're being too optimistic.
That's fair. Sure. I mean, but anyways, I'm just showing that's crazy. And this is FSD in China with roads that you're saying, mountainous roads. This is what's blowing everybody away in China, is because obviously, you can drive Huawei
none
and others.
Of the other Indian FSDs can do this.
Chinese FSD can do it because they've never. But this is like just not really a road, and it's driving perfectly well. And these guys were shocked at how well it's doing here. So, okay, FSD can, I have no doubt, and you agree, it will be able to, with tweaking and training, it'll be able to do just fine in India. People were saying it's not going to be able to do it with all the cars and all the people. Well, so far.
It's going to be very challenging, but
Yeah. So you said earlier, and I was going to ask you that, you think, so last year when we were saying, okay, India needs to reduce the tariffs to let Tesla sell cars into India. But India themselves said very clearly, we will only do that if you, the automaker, builds a factory here and sells here. Like we need to have that as well. Otherwise, we're not going to let you sell your cars here. So there must have been a deal, according to last year, that there should be a Giga India that's being planned. Do you think that that's the case, or do you think it's,
I do think it's the case. I think it's the case because of two converging facts, two converging issues. The one is India's greater commitment to US trade, and the other is the advent of the new affordable car with the slimmed down, improved manufacturing role. Look, the best selling foreign car in India, which I believe is the Hyundai. It's a Hyundai SUV. It's in the $28,000, $30,000 class outside. Actually, it's cheaper. I think it's in the $20,000 class. So it's going to be very, very hard to sell a high-end car. But if you can sell a mid-range car and it has the attributes of what we think the lower cost car is going to be, or it has the attributes even better of what the Cybercab's got, it would do so well. It's incredible.
That makes sense too. So you're saying, yes, it does now make sense to build a factory in India, because if they specifically focus on the lower end, but also the new way of building cars there, that's what makes sense. Yeah. Then the supply chain could be created there as well. Yeah. Exciting. I agree. I think that Giga India might be back on the table, especially if Giga Mexico is no longer going to be considered.
Yeah. And it's not going to be early next year. It's going to be, if it's next year, it's going to be late next year, in my view.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. So now there's a number of moves that Tesla's made with selling cars in the US, and people are confused. Why are they doing this? Now you can explain what you think it is. One is Cybertruck. They just announced this. Now they have more promotions, 1.99% APR on all Cybertruck trims, including the Foundation Series. Applies to a 60-month term, US only. Stacks with free supercharging for Foundation Series. Mexico and Canada Foundation Series now also includes free supercharging. Now, in this case, people might say, well, that's because they have low demand and they're trying to sell more Cybertrucks. But this one, the Model 3, the brand new Model 3 in North America, new set of incentives. You got 0% APR. That's fantastic. 0 down. It's amazing. 60-month terms. Not bad at all for one of the best bang for your buck vehicles. Why are they doing this kind of incentives for these two kinds of models?
Well, they're trying to pump up the first quarter revenue with the models they've got. They're trying to get revenue. Look, they don't have a Model Y. They don't have their best-selling vehicles, so there's going to be a big hole in their revenue, and there's going to be a big hole in their revenue to depreciate, to offset the cost of their factory. So they're going to have a low gross margin. So they want to pump out as many of what they've got to sell. You sell what you've got. And so I expect also a big, boost on a big pressure on S and X in terms of incentives. As much incentive as they could make. I thought they would start these incentives earlier this quarter, but apparently they're not. So they've got to turn volume out, even at any incentive cost that they could conjure up, because every dollar that they earn on an existing model is an offset to the loss of sales of the Y and the loss of factory overhead for the Model Y. So, yeah, that's the objective.
It's too logical. Very logical. Glad you said it. I was talking to Brian Wang a couple of days ago, and he had a theory for why they're doing it for the Model 3. Now that you said that, I think it blows this theory away. He was saying that Tesla needs to get rid of the low-end Model 3 cars, the inventory, because he's suspecting that the new vehicles, affordable vehicles, will come out in a couple of months, and they don't want to be having too much inventory on hand.
Yeah, they may, if it was coming out at the end of March, I would agree, but it's only coming out in June. If he's saying it's moving back to April, I
Yeah, it's
very strongly
unlikely.
doubt it.
Yeah,
Very
agreed.
strongly doubt it. So I don't think that's right. Look, it just makes too much sense to me. They have a deficit of vehicles. This was my argument last year. We had this conversation. They had a deficit. They only had three models that they were selling, 4 models they were selling. They had to reduce price. They had to give incentives because they're trying to expand their market. The vehicles they have aren't for a larger TAM. In fact, they had broken all records of TAM that expanded the TAM for the Model Y to some unbelievable level. But they didn't have the vehicles. They didn't have the models to fill the income gap, the income levels that a full OEM range would be. So they had to do that last year anyway. So they have to do it now in spades. Now, that doesn't offset some of the problems that they have in terms of losing part of their market because of political issues and trying to evolve a new market from a political perspective, right versus left and so on. That's a separate subject. But they have to give incentives on the why. That's my argument.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so do you think that Tesla is in the offensive this year? Are they being cautious this year? Let's see it. So first of all, they just announced a brand new Megapack factory. They're now going into a new market, India. I think the FSC China thing is something that people should not underestimate. That is big, giant news for all of us for all sorts of reasons. They are building the next a rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. They're ramping up Semi. They're ramping up Cybertruck. They've got these 2, not just 1, 2 new vehicles that they're about to launch. They're going to start building Cybercabs. Like they're building Megapack factories, probably another one, right? This one they announced, another one. And then probably a Gigafactory.
You're asking me what I think where Tesla is. All I can tell you is that you shouldn't be asking me because Elon told us not a month ago. He told us how exciting the world is to Tesla right now and how they're on this whole new book, that they've opened this new book and everything's happening. So who am I to offset? Right. And we see it happening with our very eyes. We see it happening every day. We see the new evidence of it. I'm very, very bullish. Very bullish.
Right. 2025, as he said, it's going to be the big year. And then, of course, it's all going to come together. 26. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is it. Thank you again. I love talking to you, Larry, because you just refocus. It's not about the sales of vehicles. It's all these things happening, and that's what we're following.
Sure
is. Thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you.
Go and you can go and watch your SpaceX. That's what you need to do now. Thank you, Larry. Follow Larry on his X account at Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.